Jason Momoa's estate search uncovers unexpected trouble, and the story behind it is far from what fans expected. What started as a routine look into his assets quickly spiraled into a web of legal battles, surprising revelations, and shifting loyalties. In this video, we'll dive deep into the twists and turns that have shaken the actor's world, uncovering secrets that could change everything. Jason Momoa has long been known as a larger-than-life figure, from his rugged roles in Aquaman and Game of Thrones to his laid-back, adventurous lifestyle off-screen. But recently, a different kind of spotlight landed on him, one focused on his personal estate. What triggered this sudden interest? And why did it lead to a deep-dive search that uncovered more than just property deeds? It all started with whispers among fans and industry insiders about Momoa's growing investment portfolio. Over the past few years, the actor hasn't just been riding waves on screen. He's been quietly acquiring several properties, branching into business ventures, and building what looked like a solid financial empire. But rumors began swirling that something wasn't quite right behind the scenes. A few reports hinted at tangled paperwork and unresolved issues related to these holdings. That's when legal experts and estate managers got involved, tasked with conducting a thorough review of Momoa's estate. Normally, such reviews are routine checks and balances to keep everything in order. But this one quickly turned into a full investigation, revealing layers of complexity that no one expected. Questions started piling up. Were there hidden complications in Momoa's property dealings? Were there disputes brewing under the surface? And if so, what could that mean for the actor's reputation and future plans? Fans were left in the dark, watching as the media caught wind of the story but offered little concrete information. Social media buzzed with speculation as usual, but no one could say for certain what the estate search actually uncovered. It was clear, though, that this wasn't just another celebrity real estate update. Something deeper and possibly more troubling was at play. What made the situation even more intriguing was Momoa's public image. Known for his genuine, down-to-earth personality and close ties with family and friends, the idea of legal troubles or hidden disputes seemed out of character. Yet the facts on the ground hinted otherwise. The actor's estate, a symbol of his success and hard work, suddenly appeared tangled in a web of confusion. And so, what started as a simple search to clarify ownership and assets rapidly escalated. The investigation began to uncover documents and connections that raised eyebrows, turning a routine process into a source of controversy. But what exactly did the search reveal? And why did it take everyone by surprise? The answer lies deeper than just paperwork. As the investigation peeled back layers, it exposed unexpected trouble, legal headaches, disputed claims, and whispers of financial irregularities. This was no ordinary estate review. It was turning into a story that could reshape how fans and the industry see Jason Momoa. But that wasn't the whole story. What came next would shock many who thought they knew the real Jason Momoa and challenge the image of the actor as just a carefree adventurer. What started as a straightforward estate review quickly took a sharp turn into the unexpected. As legal teams sifted through piles of documents and records, they didn't just find routine property papers or typical financial statements. Instead, what emerged was a tangle of unresolved legal disputes and surprising irregularities that no one outside the circle had seen coming. The first major red flag appeared in the form of missing or incomplete documentation linked to some of Momoa's properties. Certain deeds were disputed or lacked clear ownership records, triggering questions about whether all acquisitions had been properly registered. For a public figure of Momoa's stature, this raised eyebrows. After all, stars at this level usually have entire teams dedicated to keeping their finances and assets in pristine order. More troubling, some of these issues suggested the involvement of third parties who may have complicated the estate's legal standing. Contracts and agreements seemed to reference business partners or intermediaries whose roles weren't fully transparent. The legal team had to dig deeper to untangle these connections and determine who held actual control over specific assets. Adding to the mystery, a series of communications uncovered during the review revealed disagreements and tension behind the scenes. Emails and memos hinted at unresolved disputes with associates over property rights and financial responsibilities. These weren't just minor misunderstandings, but serious clashes that could potentially delay or derail parts of Momoa's estate management. For many fans, this was unexpected. Jason Momoa, known for his straightforward charm and strong family ties, didn't seem like someone who would be caught up in messy legal battles. But the evidence painted a more complicated picture, showing that even celebrities aren't immune to the pitfalls of real estate and business dealings. At the heart of this unfolding drama was a question: how much of this trouble was accidental, and how much was a result of intentional maneuvering? Some insiders speculated that certain partners might have taken advantage of loopholes or ambiguity in the paperwork to push their own agendas. Others suggested it could simply be a case of poor oversight, mistakes made in the rush of managing a growing empire. Whatever the cause, the consequences were clear. These disputes and irregularities threatened to drag on for months or even years, forcing Momoa's team to spend time and money untangling legal knots instead of focusing on new projects or personal ventures. This growing cloud of trouble also posed a risk to Momoa's reputation. In Hollywood, where image is everything, whispers of estate problems and legal battles can quickly spiral into damaging headlines. For an actor beloved for his authenticity and integrity, that kind of negative press could sting hard. And yet, this was only the beginning. The initial legal problems and missing paperwork hinted at even deeper issues that were waiting to be uncovered. More surprises lurked just below the surface, tied to people and deals no one had expected to be involved. What investigators found next would shift the narrative even further, dragging in rumors, accusations, and a figure close to Momoa whose role raised serious questions. The estate search was no longer just a legal matter. It was becoming a story full of intrigue and unexpected turns. And what happened next would shock everyone involved. The deeper the investigators dug, the more tangled the story became. Behind the scenes of Jason Momoa's estate troubles, whispers of controversy began to surface. Rumors that hinted at fractured partnerships and business conflicts few had expected from the actor's usually straightforward dealings. One of the biggest surprises was a revelation of contentious relationships with certain associates tied to Momoa's business ventures. While he's best known for his acting and adventurous spirit, Jason has quietly stepped into a variety of investments over recent years, from real estate to lifestyle brands. But managing those ventures wasn't always smooth sailing. Sources revealed there were serious disagreements bubbling under the surface. Disputes over financial contributions, profit shares, and control that complicated the estate review. Industry insiders suggested some partners felt sidelined or misled, sparking tension that escalated behind closed doors. These conflicts, while often common in celebrity business circles, took on an unusual intensity here, feeding speculation that things weren't just about paperwork but power struggles. It seemed some players had more to gain or lose than anyone outside the circle realized. For Momoa's team, the challenge was enormous. Untangling these disputes meant not only combing through contracts and communications, but also navigating fragile relationships. In the world of high-stakes business, loyalty and trust can be as valuable and volatile as money itself. What made this particularly tricky was that many of the disagreements were buried in informal agreements, handshake deals, or vague promises rather than ironclad contracts. This lack of clear documentation added fuel to the fire, turning simple misunderstandings into legal gray areas that could drag on indefinitely. Meanwhile, rumors began swirling about possible clashes with few well-known figures close to Momoa, business associates who reportedly felt their interests had been overlooked or deliberately ignored. These claims weren't confirmed publicly, but the mere suggestion of infighting added layers of drama that the media eagerly seized on. Beyond business tensions, some whispers hinted at more personal disputes connected to the estate. While details were scarce, sources implied that strained relationships among those closest to Momoa may have influenced how the estate was managed or mismanaged. Whether family drama or long-standing disagreements, these undercurrents complicated an already delicate situation. Through it all, Momoa maintained a relatively low profile, choosing to focus on his projects and personal life instead of addressing rumors head-on. But the estate troubles quietly cast a shadow, showing how even someone with his charismatic, down-to-earth image could get caught in the messy realities of money, loyalty, and business conflict. And just when everyone thought the controversy couldn't get more complicated, a new figure stepped into the spotlight, a close associate whose role in the estate sparked even more questions. Who was this person, And what part did they play in the unfolding saga? The answers would lead investigators into a web of unexpected connections and raise doubts about just how much Jason Momoa really knew about what was happening behind the scenes. And the twists were far from over. As the estate investigation deepened, one figure kept appearing in the background. Someone who had been quietly involved in Jason Momoa's affairs, but suddenly became the focus of intense scrutiny. This close associate's role raised more questions than answers, stirring speculation about whether they were a helpful ally or a source of the estate's mounting troubles. This individual wasn't just any acquaintance. Trusted by Momoa and part of his inner circle for years, they had been involved in managing some of his business dealings and overseeing certain aspects of his property portfolio. Their proximity to the actor made the revelations even more significant, and the rumors more potent. During the legal review, investigators uncovered discrepancies linked directly to this person's management of key documents and financial records. Some contracts appeared to have been signed or altered without Momoa's direct knowledge, and a number of transactions seemed to involve his associate as an intermediary. That raised red flags. Was this person acting independently, or was Jason fully aware of their actions? What fueled suspicion further was conflicting testimony from other members of Momoa's team. While some vouched for the associate's loyalty and dedication, others suggested they might have been overstepping boundaries, making decisions that complicated the estate's legal standing. There were whispers of withheld information and unexplained delays that held up the investigation. On top of that, sources hinted at possible financial mismanagement. The associate allegedly had access to substantial funds tied to Momoa's estate, and questions arose about whether all those resources were accounted for. Some suspected that money may have been diverted or spent without proper approval, deepening the mystery around the estate's irregularities. Yet, despite these troubling signs, it wasn't clear if any wrongdoing was intentional. It could have been a case of miscommunication, misplaced trust, or simply someone overwhelmed by the complexities of managing an expanding empire. But in an environment where millions of dollars and reputations were at stake, even honest mistakes carried heavy consequences. Momoa himself remained largely silent about the associate's involvement, neither confirming nor denying the rumors. His team released brief statements assuring fans that the actor was cooperating fully with the investigation, but details were sparse. This silence only added to the intrigue, leaving fans and media alike to fill in the gaps with speculation. The more investigators probed, the more they realized this close associate was a key piece in a much larger puzzle. Their role didn't just affect one property or deal. It seemed tied to the very core of the estate's legal and financial troubles. And as the tangled web unraveled, other unexpected connections began to surface, linking this person to figures outside Momoa's immediate circle. It became clear that what looked like an isolated problem was part of a broader network of complications. What exactly these connections meant was still unclear, but one thing was certain. This close associate's involvement had changed everything. The estate's search had uncovered a far more complex story than anyone imagined, and what came next would expose even deeper secrets lurking beneath the surface. As the estate investigation unfolded, the spotlight turned sharply to the financial side of things, and what was uncovered sent shockwaves through both the legal teams and Jason Momoa's circle. The numbers didn't quite add up, and unexplained transactions hinted at a financial story far more complicated than anyone expected. During the thorough audit, accountants and lawyers found irregularities that raised serious questions. Some funds linked to Momoa's properties and business ventures appeared to have shifted in ways that weren't clearly documented. Large sums moved between accounts with vague descriptions, while certain payments seemed to lack clear justification. This kind of financial ambiguity is often a red flag in estate searches, signaling potential mismanagement or worse. For a star of Momoa's caliber, whose finances are usually closely monitored, this was highly unusual and troubling. Adding fuel to the fire were rumors that some assets might have been hidden or undervalued intentionally. Whispered speculation suggested that portions of Momoa's wealth were not fully disclosed during the state review, possibly tucked away in shell companies or under different names. While nothing has been proven publicly, these murmurs have sent ripples through the media and fan communities alike. The mysterious close associate from earlier played a central role here as well. Sources suggested they had access to several accounts and were involved in directing funds, raising questions about oversight and accountability. Was this person acting on Momoa's behalf with full transparency, or did they have their own agenda? Financial experts involved in the case reportedly faced a frustrating challenge. The more they peeled back layers, the more they encountered missing documents, conflicting reports, and transactions that defied straightforward explanation. Some accounts seem to have been deliberately obscured or manipulated, which only deepened suspicions. Media outlets began to latch onto the story, speculating about what these financial irregularities might mean. Headlines hinted at possible secret deals, disputes over money, and even allegations of questionable financial practices. For Momoa, whose public image is tied to honesty and grounded values, this negative press was a sharp contrast to the man fans thought they knew. Despite the swirling rumors, Momoa's representatives remained tight-lipped, refusing to comment on specifics. This silence, combined with the lack of clear answers, only fanned the flames of speculation. What made this financial mystery even more compelling was a broader context. It wasn't just about money. It was about trust, control, and the fragility of reputation in Hollywood's high-stakes world. The stakes couldn't be higher. Financial trouble could jeopardize future projects, partnerships, and even personal relationships. And as the investigation dug deeper, it became clear that this was no ordinary money mess. The estate's search had uncovered a financial labyrinth that might take months or years to fully untangle. But the story didn't stop there. With public interest peaking, the reaction from fans and media began to shape the next chapter of this unfolding saga. What happened next will reveal just how much a celebrity's image depends on the delicate balance between transparency and secrecy. As news of the estate's search and its surprising findings began to leak, the public's response was swift and intense. Jason Momoa's fans, accustomed to seeing him as a laid-back, adventurous hero, were suddenly confronted with a very different story, one tangled in legal disputes and financial uncertainty. The contrast ignited a frenzy across social media and entertainment news. Within hours of the first reports, hashtags related to Momoa's estate troubles started trending on Twitter, sparking heated debates among fans and critics alike. Some defended the actor fiercely, pointing to complexity of managing wealth and business at his level. They reminded everyone that even the most successful people can get caught in messy legal webs. Others weren't so forgiving. Skeptics questioned whether Momoa had been fully transparent with his finances or if the controversies hinted at deeper problems. Rumors about hidden deals and questionable associates fueled wild speculation, with conspiracy theories spreading fast. Some even suggested that this might be the beginning of a larger scandal waiting to break. Media outlets wasted no time capitalizing on the buzz. Entertainment news sites published articles with dramatic headlines about unexpected trouble and hidden secrets, drawing clicks with every new detail. Pundits debated the implications on talk shows, while YouTube creators churned out videos dissecting every known fact and rumor. This media frenzy, while boosting visibility, also created pressure from Momoa and his team. In Hollywood, public perception can be as powerful as any contract or legal document. The swirling controversy risked overshadowing his ongoing projects and personal brand, forcing his representatives into damage control mode. To manage the situation, Momoa's team began releasing carefully worded statements, emphasizing that the investigation was ongoing and that the actor was cooperating fully. They sought to reassure fans that everything would be resolved responsibly. However, these statements stopped short of addressing specific allegations, which left many questions unanswered. The silence on key points only intensified public curiosity. Fans dissected every interview and social media post for clues, hunting for signs of how Momoa was handling the pressure. His usual charismatic and candid demeanor seemed tempered, leading some to wonder if his state troubles had taken a personal toll. Beyond the fan base, industry insiders watched closely. Celebrities and business partners understood that legal and financial controversies could have ripple effects, impacting future collaborations and endorsements. Some sources suggested that a few deals were being reconsidered quietly, waiting to see how the situation unfolded. The media spotlight also drew attention to Hollywood's broader issue with celebrity wealth management. Momoa's case became a cautionary tale about the risks of mixing fame, fortune, and complex business ventures without tight oversight. Despite the chaos, the actor's loyal supporters rallied to his defense, flooding social channels with messages of encouragement. They highlighted his philanthropic work, grounded personality, and the genuine connection he maintained with fans. As the public and media buzzed, the estate investigation pressed on behind closed doors, promising even more revelations that could either clear the air or deepen the controversy. And the next chapter was poised to deliver exactly that, another surprising twist no one saw coming. As the dust settled from the initial shockwaves, it became clear that Jason Momoa's estate troubles were far from over. What started as a routine search quickly escalated into a brewing legal battle with potential to drag on for months or even years. Lawyers on all sides prepared for a high-stakes showdown that could shake up Momoa's financial empire. Behind the scenes, tensions were mounting. The unresolved ownership disputes, questionable contracts, and financial irregularities had turned the estate into a battlefield. Different parties were lining up, ready to fight for control or clarity over various assets. The stakes were enormous, involving millions of dollars in properties that were crucial to Momoa's long-term plans. Momoa's legal team faced an uphill climb. They had to navigate a maze of conflicting claims, some coming from unexpected corners. Former associates and shadowy business partners, previously unknown to the public, began asserting their rights, filing claims or pushing for settlements. These surprise entrants complicated what was supposed to be a straightforward review. One of the most contentious issues centered around the close associate whose role had already raised suspicion. Allegations of mismanagement and unauthorized actions led to calls for investigations into their conduct. While no formal charges have been made, the cloud of doubt cast a long shadow, fueling legal maneuvering on multiple fronts. What made this legal fight especially tricky was the mixture of formal contracts and informal agreements. Some deals were well documented, while others existed only in verbal promises or loose arrangements. This blend opened the door to disputes over interpretation, intent, and enforceability, turning the courtroom into a battleground of competing narratives. The media kept a close eye on developments, reporting every filing and hearing with keen interest. Headlines speculated about potential outcomes, from costly settlements to courtroom drama that could spill into the public eye. For Momoa, who had built his career on authenticity and connection with fans, the looming legal fight risked damaging not only his wealth, but his reputation. Financial advisors warned that prolonged legal battles could drain resources and distract Momoa from his creative projects. Endorsement deals and upcoming roles might be affected if the saga dragged on without resolution. The pressure to settle quickly clashed with the need to protect Momoa's interests fully, a difficult balance to strike. Despite the mounting challenges, Momoa himself appeared determined to weather the storm. Close sources described him as focused and pragmatic, leaning on trusted advisors to guide him through the maze. He remained committed to resolving the disputes while maintaining his personal and professional integrity. Yet, the twists kept coming. Just when it seemed the legal battle was the central drama, new claims surfaced, ones that threatened to widen the scope of the conflict even further. Allegations about third-party involvement, previously unknown debts, and disputed intellectual property rights added unexpected layers to the fight. The estate's search had opened a Pandora's box, revealing not just hidden trouble, but legal war that could redefine Jason Momoa's future. And the fallout from this battle would shock fans and insiders alike. Just as a legal battle over Jason Momoa's estate seemed set to spiral into chaos, an unexpected twist emerged, one that could change everything. In a story filled with suspicion and tension, surprising alliances began to form, and loyalties shifted in ways few anticipated. Among the tangled web of claims and disputes, a few key figures stepped forward with offers of support and cooperation. These unexpected allies brought not only resources, but crucial information that had the potential to clarify some of the murkiest parts of the estate's troubled history. One such ally was a longtime friend and business partner, someone who had remained in the background until now. This individual's sudden involvement surprised many, as they had previously kept a low profile, avoiding public attention. But as the stakes grew higher, their role became critical, providing documents and testimony that helped shed light on disputed transactions and clarified the intentions behind several controversial deals. This development threw a curveball at those who had been betting on a protracted, bitter legal fight. The emergence of this ally introduced the possibility of negotiated settlements and behind-the-scenes agreements that might bring some resolution sooner than expected. However, the shifting loyalties weren't limited to allies coming forward. On the flip side, cracks began to appear within Momoa's inner circle. Some former associates who had once been loyal supporters started distancing themselves, raising doubts about their allegiance. Whether motivated by self-preservation, disagreement, or pressure from other parties, their retreat added new uncertainty. This internal fracturing complicated the path forward. With loyalties divided, Momoa's team had to carefully navigate trust issues, making sure that sensitive information didn't fall into the wrong hands. The atmosphere grew increasingly tense, with suspicion creeping into every negotiation and conversation. Meanwhile, whispers of behind-the-scenes deals circulated, suggesting that some parties were attempting to broker agreements outside the courtroom. These off-the-record discussions hinted at compromises that might protect Momoa's interests while resolving disputes more quietly. But such arrangements came with risks. Settling too quickly or without full transparency could lead to backlash from other claimants or fans. The delicate balance between resolving conflicts and maintaining public trust was a constant concern. Through it all, Jason Momoa remained focused on the bigger picture. Sources close to him described a man determined to protect his legacy and move forward despite the setbacks and betrayals. His resilience and pragmatic approach earned respect from allies and observers alike. This phase of the saga showed how even the most challenging conflicts can be influenced by human dynamics, trust, betrayal, and the unexpected strength found in unlikely partnerships. Yet, as these new alliances took shape, another surprise loomed on the horizon. Just when it seemed things might settle down, fresh revelations threatened to reopen old wounds and add yet another layer of drama to an already explosive story. The twists were far from over. Just when the estate saga seemed to be inching toward some kind of resolution, a bombshell dropped that sent shockwaves through Jason Momoa's legal and personal worlds. Fresh revelations surfaced, threatening to upend everything his team had been working toward, and exposing secrets no one saw coming. Investigators uncovered documents and communications that hinted at a side of the estate problem previously hidden from public view. These new findings suggested that some of the disputes were far deeper and more entangled than anyone expected. What looked like isolated issues were actually symptoms of a broader, more complicated situation. One revelation involved previously unknown agreements connected to intellectual property rights. These contracts, signed years ago but buried in legal archives, raised questions about ownership of certain projects and brand endorsements linked to Momoa. Suddenly, the estate's value and control weren't just about properties and money. They were tied up in creative works and lucrative partnerships. At the same time, new financial irregularities came to light. Transactions that had been assumed resolved were reopened for review, revealing possible involvement of third parties not initially accounted for. Some of these outsiders had ties to international businesses and complex offshore accounts, adding an unexpected global dimension to the case. What made these revelations even more explosive was their timing. They arrived just as Momoa's legal team had started to make headway negotiating with key players. This new information complicated negotiations and threatened to reignite old conflicts. Fans and the media were stunned. The narrative shifted from a behind-the-scenes estate dispute to a full-blown saga involving secret deals and hidden alliances. Social media buzzed with speculation. Were there more skeletons in the closet? Could the actor's brand and career survive these shocks? Momoa's camp faced a critical choice: push for transparency and risk further fallout, or attempt to contain the damage with carefully managed statements. The balance between protecting privacy and maintaining trust became even more precarious. Among the surprises was the discovery of communications between Momoa's close associate, already under scrutiny, and outside consultants. These exchanges hinted at attempts to influence certain decisions and transactions, raising concerns about conflict of interest and potential manipulation. Legal experts watching the case noted that such developments could open doors for new lawsuits or regulatory investigations. The stakes were rising fast, with more than just money on the line. Momoa's reputation and future projects were at risk. Despite the turmoil, the actor's core team remained steadfast, working tirelessly to sift through the chaos and regain control. Their goal was clear: to protect Jason Momoa's legacy and ensure the estate's future stability. But with every new revelation, the story grew more complex, and the path to resolution became murkier. What happened next would test loyalties, uncover hidden motives, and ultimately decide the fate of the entire estate. With the estate search uncovering unexpected troubles, financial irregularities, legal battles, shifting loyalties, and explosive revelations, the question on everyone's mind is clear. What happens next for Jason Momoa? The path forward is anything but simple. Navigating through the tangled mess of claims, allegations, and negotiations will require not just legal finesse, but careful public relations strategy. How Momoa manages this chapter could define his career and personal brand for years to come. One thing is certain: the stakes are enormous. Beyond the millions of dollars in disputed assets, there's Momoa's reputation, a vital currency in Hollywood. His authenticity, charisma, and connection with fans have been key to his success. Protecting that trust while dealing with the fallout is a delicate balancing act. Sources close to Momoa say he is focused on rebuilding stability. That means finalizing the legal disputes, clarifying financial questions, and regaining control over his estate's affairs. It also means distancing himself from problematic associates and reinforcing a trusted inner circle. Financial experts believe this process will take time. Untangling the layers of business dealings, contracts, and transactions, some spanning years and even international borders, will not happen overnight. Patience and transparency will be critical to restoring confidence among business partners and fans alike. Beyond the immediate challenges, there's a bigger picture. Momoa's career is entering a new phase, with high-profile projects on the horizon. Successfully managing this crisis could demonstrate resilience and maturity, strengthening his standing in the industry. But missteps could have lasting consequences, affecting future opportunities and endorsements. This situation also serves as a cautionary tale about the complexity celebrities face when wealth, fame, and business collide. It underscores the importance of clear oversight, trusted advisors, and transparency to avoid pitfalls hidden beneath the surface. For fans, the hope remains that Momoa will emerge from this turmoil stronger. His public persona, rooted in authenticity and grounded values, still resonates deeply. Many believe this experience could be a transformative one, inspiring new creative directions and personal growth. As the dust begins to settle, the estate's search will likely be remembered not just for the troubles uncovered, but for the resilience shown in facing them. The coming months will reveal whether Momoa can turn these challenges into a fresh start, both personally and professionally. In the end, the story isn't just about unexpected troubles. It's about navigating adversity, making tough choices, and coming out on the other side. And for Jason Momoa, that journey is far from over. Thanks for watching. If you found this story about Jason Momoa's estate search as surprising as we did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's biggest mysteries. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. See you next time.